The highest voter turnout in Korea's history is expected in the upcoming snap election on May 9th, but there's always room for improvement. For our news feature tonight, our Kim Jung-soo zooms in on the extra efforts to make the election more meaningful and encourage people to head to the polls.
It's my first time voting. I think this is a very special election.
Of course I'm voting. Each vote reflects the opinion of each citizen and helps build society.
Voting is an obligation and a right. I've been following the candlelight protests, and I believe it's the young generation that must take the initiative this time.
The biggest group of likely voters in Korea is young people, and recent surveys seem to reflect their eagerness. A poll conducted by Job Korea in the last week of March showed that nearly 85% of respondents in their 20s said they were planning to vote, followed by those in their 50s and 40s. But Korea's General Students Association, which represents 12 major universities, believes the figure can be pushed up even higher. On the first of the month, GSA representatives, including one from Korea University, gathered at Gwanghwamun Plaza and pledged to get 100% of the country's college students to vote.
Traditionally, the presidential election takes place in December, which is also when new student associations start operating, so we've never really had time to prepare for it. But this time, it's different.
The association is planning to organize a friendly competition with other schools to see which college can turn out the most voters.
In our own survey, 41.4% of college students said that the current reliance on conglomerates is the biggest problem in society. We plan to invite the candidates to our campus to hear our concerns. We want students to believe that Korea can break away from the country's problematic structural traditions through this election.
Over in the city of Seongnam, a startup has taken a more light-hearted approach to election season. It recently released a free mobile puzzle game called Voting Like Me. The mechanics of the game are quite simple. First, players choose a candidate as their avatar. Then, working under a time limit, people flick votes to the ballot box while getting rid of obstacles in the way for additional points. The results from each stage are then synced to an online scoreboard, and players can help their candidate win electoral districts and the whole virtual election by getting the highest score at each stage.
Compared to other election-themed games, our game is very simple. In a certain sense, the mechanics don't try to replicate the complicated dynamics of the election process. Instead, we want people to think of voting as an accessible and convenient activity.
Kim said the company found the foray into politics a natural progression from its previous focus on sports, including football and baseball.
As with sports, a person can become incredibly engrossed in politics. But at the same time, we want voters to know that it's important to respect the principles of fair play and the rules of the game.
The National Election Commission's voter turnout efforts are also in full swing. The Commission oversees the entire election process, and this year, it's also organizing a day of early voting, the first for a presidential election. For each election, the Commission makes promotional videos to encourage voting, as well as posters with distinct slogans, with this year's being Beautiful Election or Beautiful Day in English.
Over the years, our commission has stressed transparency and equality during election season. But I think we can aim for even more than that. By beauty, we're referring to how an election can help society come together and how it can be a display of unity even after a candidate has been chosen.
The peaceful candlelight protests that ended recently show that individual voices can come together to bring about much-needed change. Likewise, the National Election Commission hopes that citizens exercise their right to vote and contribute to bringing about a new beginning for the country. Kim Jung-soo, Arirang News.